Good morning, everybody. It is 3:50 in the morning, December 14th, 2022. Okay, part 2, Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses. Part 2, Chapter 2. Elaine pushed her hand against her belly, probably as empty and aching as my own. It wasn't that Elaine was cruel. She wasn't like Nesta, who had been born with a sneer on her face. Elaine sometimes just didn't grasp things. It wasn't meanness that kept her from offering to help. It simply never occurred to her that she might be capable of getting her hands dirty. I'd never been able to decide whether she actually didn't understand that we were truly poor if she just refused to accept it, or if she just refused to accept it. It still hadn't stopped me from buying her seeds for the flower garden she tended in the middler months whenever I could afford it. And it hadn't stopped her from buying me 3 small tins of paint, red, yellow, and blue. During that same summer, I'd had enough to buy the ash arrow. It was the only gift she'd ever given me, and our house still bore the marks of it, even if the paint was now faded and chipped. Little vines and flowers along the windows and thresholds and edges of things, tiny curls of flame on the stones bordering the hearth. Any spare minutes I'd had that bountiful summer, I used to bedeck our house in color, sometimes hiding clever decorations inside drawers, behind the threadbare curtains, underneath the chairs and table. We hadn't had a summer that easy since. Fire, my father's deep rumble came from the fire. His dark beard was neatly trimmed, his face spotless, like my sister's. What luck you had today in bringing us such a feast. From beside my father, Nesta snorted. Not surprising. Any bit of praise for anyone, me, Elaine, other villagers, usually resulted in her dismissal. And any word from our fathers usually resulted in her ridicule as well. I straightened, almost too tired to stand, but braced a hand on the table beside the dough as I shot Nesta a glare. Of us, Nesta had taken the loss of our fortune the hardest. She had quietly resented my father from the moment we'd fled our manor, even after that awful day on the creditors had come to show just how displeased he was at the loss of his investment. But at least Nesta didn't fill our heads with useless talk of regaining our wealth like my father. No, she just spent whatever money I didn't hid from her, and rarely bothered to acknowledge my father's limping presence at all. Some days I couldn't tell which of us was the most wretched and bitter. We can eat half the meat this week, I said, shifting my gaze to the dough. The deer took up the entirety of the rickety table that served as our dining area, workspace, and kitchen. We can dry the other half, I went on, knowing that no matter how nicely I phrased it, I'd still do the bulk of it. And I'll go to the market tomorrow to see how much I can get for the hides. I finished more to myself than to them. No one bothered to confirm they'd heard me anyway. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching.